Welcome back to Grit and Grace with Jennifer and Merideth. I'm your girl, Jennifer.
And I am your girl, Merideth. Yes, you can catch us every Saturday morning, 8 to 10, right here on Conroe's FM, 104.5 and 106.1. And right before the break, we were talking about Thanksgiving because it's coming up. But really, the best thing going on this hour is finding out about Green Zone Housing, one of the newer nonprofit organizations here in the community. Actually started out of Montgomery, right, Mark?
Yes, ma'am. Right out of Montgomery.
And actually, everybody, welcome. We're so excited. We have Mark Cook with us this morning with Green Zone Housing. Thank you so much for joining us.
Well, thank you for inviting me to the Grit and Grace show on Lone Star Radio. What an honor, huh?
You were so sweet. And, you know, I was talking to Mark. He is a Casanova, ladies. I'm not going to lie.
I'm not. No, you could get me in trouble now.
No. In the sense of he's a sweet talker, of course. But, no, that being said, it's like so great when I talk.
He's charming.
He is charming. Thank you. See,
I'm going to blush now.
Not a Casanova. He's charming.
He's charming. And he is. And I know, of course, that's just a little bit of your story, because when I started talking to you yesterday about Green Zone Housing, I was really blown away about the organization. And we've been going on the air. I mean, we're almost at, we've been over, not a year yet, but, we've been here for a while and we hadn't heard about them. But when you started telling me about everything that the organization's doing in the community, I was blown away. And even more so when I found out you're fairly new. So why don't you fill us in, our listeners in, on how it all began? How did Green Zone Housing start?
Well, it's a funny story, and I've told this story 1,000 times, but I'll tell it again because it's really a good one.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, because I'm like, I want to hear it again.
It started, and it's sort of a joke, but it's true. There's two old rednecks sitting on the front porch of my house, and me and a guy named Dave Nash. And we were trying to figure out what we were going to do with the rest of our lives, being in the oil field for so many years. And he's a Vietnam veteran, suffers from PTSD. And he said, well, let's just build a house for somebody. I said, all right, let's go do it. And then another young lady by the name of Melanie Davis came into the mix, and she said, well, that ain't going to work. And being logical and listening to women like we should do, which we don't do a lot, but we should, we listened to her. And it became apparent that there's a whole lot more problems with our veteran community than just giving them a house. So, as I told you last night, it's a $10 rule, right? Mm-hmm. You get somebody $10, they put it in your pocket, and they forget about it. But if you invest an hour of your life making that $10, you're a little bit more careful about how you spend it.
Right.
So, with that being said, we decided that we would make homes and take containers, old shipping containers, recycle them into living conditions, living homes for people, nice ones. I mean, they're not, they're very nice, actually. Mm-hmm. We just delivered one to Camp Hope, which we'll be doing the hard dedication to a veteran for. But we decided we'd recycle containers and call it Green Zone Housing. And Green Zone Housing has two meanings. Green Zone in the military means a safe place, and green in the non-military world means recycle. So we're recycling containers into homes. But the catch is that we just don't give them nothing. People don't want gifts. They want to earn. Mm-hmm. It's a matter of self-respect. So what we do is we get the individual that is going to receive said house involved in the making of said house. So he's got sweat equity. He's got his own thought processes. He's got his own sweat and blood into it. Plus the fact that if he doesn't have any tangible skills, such as carpentry or electric or whatever, he learns those skills in the process of building his own home. So it encompasses a lot of ego, a lot of self-purpose, and it makes a person respect what he has now. So that is the gist of it. It is not giving. It's a hand up, not a handout.
Well, and that is so remarkable, because you're right. When I first heard about the organization, I assumed, like many great organizations, you create and help others entirely, just giving them things. But then when you were describing really the process and how you really have them become, so involved, it just really becomes a part of their like goals, wanting to achieve to the next level and take into the program, if you will, and learn so much. I was blown away, because I was like, you're right. I don't come from a veteran family or a lot of veterans in my family, but I have heard over time that, they don't like handouts and that veterans like to earn their keep and everything. So when you were talking about it, Mark, I was like, that makes complete sense from what I know, that they would not only love it, embrace it, but also feel invested and care more about it, correct? Like it wouldn't be just an in and out like your $10 rule.
Yes, it is. That it got so complicated so quickly. With our veterans, they're heroes, in my opinion.
Absolutely.
And I get very emotional about my guys. I sit with them, I talk to them, I listen to them, and they've embraced me as one of their own. When a veteran calls you brother, it's a big deal.
Yes, it is.
And these guys look at me now as one of their own. One of the things that I have found out is that if I chose one man, I said, okay, I'm going to give you this house. 9 times out of 10, that person's going to say, I don't deserve that house. Why don't we give it to him over there? So with that door being open, we have also found that when we have a build and we ask for volunteers and veterans come, it opened doors that we never knew existed. Okay, let's say, for example, that I'm building for Joe over here and Frank and John come over. Well, Joe's building his house and Joe and John are over there, and all of a sudden Joe starts talking to me about, well, Mark, I got a little problem. Well, what's your problem, partner? Well, I got this, this, and this. What happens is, as they're building homes for their brothers, they open up more to us or to other organizations about the problems they may have that we can help fix. You see, Green Zone Housing started out to build homes. And what we found out is that there's a lack of communication in our veteran society, in our 501(c)(3) society. And I'm going to use Camp Hope for an example. Camp Hope is a wonderful, tremendous organization. PTSD Foundation of America. I'm sure that our listeners have a pretty good idea who they are. Gene Birdwell founded that program about 3 years ago. And as we were building this unit for Camp Hope, we had an initial drop-off, and the city of Montgomery sponsored the build, and we dropped off the container and had a big soiree, Gene put me off the side and said, Mark, he says, you're the answer. And I stated this in a speech the other night. I said, all right, Gene, I'm the answer to what? He says, well, when people enter the gates of Camp Hope, if they are destitute or they've got drug and rehab problems or PTSD or whatever the condition, once they've been cycled through, they got to walk through those same gates. Well, they've already failed through those gates. So the question is, now what? Well, I've done all I can here, right? But what now? Now what? Well, Green Zone Housing and our family is now the answer to that question. What we've done, the sexy part is building the homes. That's what everybody wants to see, But what we do more so is that we create a chain of programs from places like Camp Hope or Lone Survivor Foundation or whoever, and we daisy chain and communicate. So you get out of Camp Hope and you still got anger issues. Well, I'll make a phone call. I can call CS Ministries right here. Gary Buckaloo. Mark, Gary, I need some help. We'll help them. So what we mainly do is daisy chain information and help for our veterans once they leave the first responders, what I call the first responders. That is the people that pick them off the streets like Camp Hope and help them and get them situated right. But they still need counseling. They still need help. They still need guidance. They still need...
It's an ongoing process.
Yes.
Not a quick fix. Sure.
So once they've completed those steps, then it's me. I'm the end result. I'm the answer to that question. Now what? Now what? Well, now what is that you have a home. You have purpose in life. You have an address.
Yeah.
You have the ability to cycle back into the quote-unquote real world or not. And I'm going to jump ahead if that's okay.
Oh, sure.
Green Zone Housing is based on 3 phases. The first phase is building homes. Well, we've done that. The second phase is to create Green Zone Housing community. If you ever take a drive out to Camp Hope, it is a wonderful, as I stated again, organization, but it's temporary housing. These guys are in and out.
Mm-hmm.
What if we created a community of veterans in these container homes where they had the same thing at Camp Hope, but on a permanent basis?
Mm-hmm.
Now, you understand that the gentlemen or ladies that receive these homes, it's theirs.
Right.
It costs me $22,000 to $25,000 every time we build one of these homes for our veterans. That's $22,000 of equity in a home somewhere if they want to get out of the camp. But let's regress a tad. Let's say that you cannot cycle back into the room, but you can carry a job, but you want to reconnect with your family. You want to have a dog. I love dogs. Dogs are the best thing in the world for veterans. Now you have a home that you can live amongst other veterans where a nod carries a whole lot more meaning than a shake of the hand and how are you and thank you for your service, because they're talking to other veterans every day. Me personally, I'm not a veteran. But if a guy walks up to me and starts talking, a veteran that's seen say action in Afghanistan or wherever, and he looks me dead in the eye and says, "Do you understand, Mark?" I can honestly look at him and say, "No, sir, I do not. But I know somebody who does. Let me put you in contact with him." So if they live in their own community by which they can communicate these issues with a nod, a handshake, a tip of the hat, or sit down and have a cold beer, if that's not their issue, or a Coke, communicate within a bonfire, the healing process is overwhelming, because I do it at Camp Hope. I'll go down and sit with those guys and listen to them, conduct court, get stories, learn from them, so that our organization, when it's up and running, phase 2 of the operation, Green Zone Community is up and running, that we can learn from them and not make mistakes that they might have made in the past. And we can serve our veteran community, our heroes, in a way that nobody else can serve.
See, and isn't that just fantastic? The plans, I love the ambitious goals of the organization. And I mean, it's been a blessing to so many already. And I love your ideas of really being able to create a comfortable and really relatable environment for those that want it, So it's something that those veterans that want to feel comfortable and be able to kind of have a community-esque, feel that brotherhood, all the time,
yes,
that they have that comfort zone there. And frankly, that others and themselves, they can all relate to each other. And that's because yes, I am not a veteran either, so I can only imagine some of the experiences, the lifestyle, the culture of that, but it just seems like it's like a family. So in essence,
yes,
when you want to be around family and comfortable, when you're getting acclimated to, foreign areas, and I'm saying foreign meaning unknown, and just kind of trying to get reacquainted with what you want for this next chapter, it just seems like it's a perfect opportunity for them to grow.
It's not perfect, but it's the best that we can come up with as rational, logical thinking human beings. It sounds utopic. I would love for it to be utopic, but we're going to fail.
Well, and with any organization, it's the growing pains, right?
Yes.
And that's really, I think, something that a lot of us can relate to, because like with any new venture, with anything, I mean, even trying just being in the world, you try everything growing up, that you've got those growing pains to kind of live and learn. But I feel like the organization just knows firsthand that you don't know it all.
That's right.
But you're going to want, to bring a great community and environment and potentially, foster that recovery and help that to be, I wouldn't say speedy, but to help it be a healthy recovery.
Yes. A lot of the studies and shows that with our young men and women that fight, they don't fight for themselves. They don't fight for their country. They do, but mostly they fight for their brother and sister beside them and behind them. In the community, if one guy gets a house, right, and say you got 5 guys living there, there'll be 5 guys building that house with that one guy. As I stated earlier, our veterans deserve respect. They've lost a lot of that self-respect in our society, coming back from where they're from. they've had so much responsibility, and all of a sudden their job skills are limited because, loading bombs and firing rounds downrange are not something that we have as a job skill in the United States, right?
Right.
So this go back a little bit. Say you get a 19-year-old kid. He's proficient at video games, and he's just getting out of high school, and he goes in the military. Well, that kid now learns that he's proficient at video games, and he can throw rounds downrange and do all kinds of stuff that is not acceptable in our borders. So when he gets back to the States, his only discernible skill is warfare. Mm-hmm. So what we also try to do within this realm of programs is we teach them job skills. Now, they had a tremendous responsibility. Can you imagine having the responsibility of your brother's or sister's life hanging over your head at all times, and then all of a sudden you're a manager, you're working at Walmart stocking shelves? Can you imagine the deflation of ego that must produce? Right? Mm-hmm. That missing of camaraderie. So if we maintain the ability to keep our servicemen together until they can splinter off and form their own lives, right? Then we can help them in such a way that they're helping themselves. We're providing guidance only. We're not providing a fix-all. Mm-hmm. We're allowing them to do the work, and that's all they want to do anyway.
Well, and I love that, because empowering your own, those that you benefit is just going to be, to me, that's something that, like you said, with the $10, the investment, you care more, rather than having it handed to you, that you take much more value and pride in it. So it's something that I'm sure all the veterans that receive their homes from Green Zone Housing are just so, of course, thrilled, but just proud to call it theirs.
Yeah, Gene was telling me the other day, I was down at Camp Hope. I don't know what I was doing down there, but sometimes I just like to go and sit. But he said, "You created quite a ruckus here." I said, "What do you mean, Gene?" He says, excuse me. He said, "They're all having fist fights on who's going to get that house. So you got to build me a couple more." And I just shook my head and I don't know if I can do that right now. But to see the light on these guys' eyes, I gave a presentation, a speech down there a couple of weeks ago. And one of the things that I did say was, as I looked at the audience, I just asked, who wants to be first? And everybody raised their hand. But I said, with receiving the first unit, your responsibility is huge, because you are now the pathway by which everybody else receives one. You are the lead. You're running point for all your brothers and sisters from now on. It's a huge responsibility to take on, but it is so worthwhile.
Oh, I can only imagine. Especially because and you're the first to say, I may not be a veteran, but I'm so proud and honored that they are able to call me brother. And because you've been able to take the time to really get in a better understanding than many of us regular folk about veterans and their lives and culture, in the lifestyle that they want and how they feel about a lot of the things going on as far as recovery, being able to get back in there, and things we take for granted, being able to go out, go and have these, just quick conversations, busy days and everything, and not think about, what exactly they've experienced. Mm-hmm. So it's something that I'm sure has just been so invaluable to you and the team there at Green Zone Housing too, to be able to just make an impact and be privy to these honorable lives. I mean,
it's not only an honor, I can't even describe, I don't have the vocabulary to describe the feelings I get. In my past jobs in the oil field, I would wake up every morning, it's just a job. But I get up every morning, and as my uncle would say, I'm on angel's wings, because I know that today I might be able to make a difference in somebody's life. And to have that feeling of not responsibility, but of desire to affect positive change is a feeling that I wish everybody could feel.
I can only imagine, because you're right. Think about it. I mean, if every day we woke up knowing we were going to make a difference in someone's lives and being able to, of course you would take things more seriously, but wow, what a blessing of an opportunity too, to be able to be there and, help others, because it's something that we all have on our list, of course, help others. But this is, on the daily, that's got to be so rewarding for you and the team.
Yeah, these guys are amazing. Our family's amazing.
Yeah.
We don't have volunteers. We call them family. There's an old story I like to say. It's like, and the SPCA would probably come down on me about this. But, you have a cat in the car with you, and you're trying to get the cat out of the car. And you're doing 50 miles an hour down the road. And so you take the cat and you grab it and you throw it out the window. And you're trying to get the cat off your hand. It ain't going off your hand. It's going to climb right back up your arm. Our volunteers, when they first start, are volunteers. But they become family. So they're always back doing something. It doesn't really matter what it is. It's a phone call. Mark, you need something? Well, not right now. Well, keep me in mind. Whatever you need,
Serving is
it.
contagious. It is. And I think that's so remarkable. And in fact, I want to let our listeners know, because we have a few minutes before we have to take a break, or a little less than a minute actually, want to let our listeners know how they can get connected with Green Zone Housing, how they can make a difference, and how we can help you make Green Zone community happen, right?
Right.
So, and we want to encourage all our listeners, get on Facebook, look them up, Green Zone Housing.
Right.
You will find them huge Facebook page, updates all the time. They've got so much going on. You're going to want to be involved.
You looked.
Yes, I loved it. And it really fills you in so much on the activity, the energy of the team, and really their mission, which is so great. And that's why things have been going so well, because there's so much that you want to do and make happen, including Green Zone community. So listeners, I encourage you, get on Facebook, connect with them, find ways that you can donate your time or some of your money in that wallet to make a difference in our community, especially with Green Zone community on the horizon. I know that's your next goal, and I really, of course, I want us to stay connected, and you've got to come back when things start getting closer to those developments, those next chapters and phases, right?
Oh, it's going to be a wonderful feeling. I just get goosebumps thinking about it.
I love it. Well, and I want you to stay tuned, though, because Mark, he is a good old boy. He knows how to make things happen, and I think he's a bit of a country music fan, too.
Oh, a little bit.
A little bit? So,
yeah, I was just with Mark Wills a couple of weekends ago. And
oh, really?
Concert in the Country with Boots for Troops, sponsored by Keating Honda Nissan. Oh, yeah.
Oh, see, look, I'm so excited. So we've got a showdown coming on. I'm looking at Jen. I'm like, oh, yeah, showdown time.
I saw that look. I saw that look.
Mark's a sweetheart, and it's quite a charmer. Huge fan of him and his team there at Green Zone Housing. And I'm so excited because he's actually going to stick around for a little game of showdown. So y'all stay tuned. We've got more of Grit and Grace with Jennifer and Merideth coming up next.
You